Why hello there, I'm Professor Joel, and welcome to another exciting episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Today we are covering Me and My Shadow Demon, and it is the third episode of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, and it originally aired on September 21st, 1985. And in this episode, we see the gang go up against Queen Morbidia, and she's sort of like an Elvira-ish kind of vampira character, I guess you would say, but more ghoulish than those two. And, you know, she's got that curvy kind of V-shaped body. You know, she's got some curves. And she commands an army of ghouls. Plus the gang have this shadow demon that's kind of trying to steal the chest of demons away from them. Anyway, enough of my jibber jabber. Let's get on with the review. The episode begins with Vincent Van Ghoul in his castle. From afar, he hears his crystal ball fall to the ground. Running into the room, a shadow demon exits the window unseen as Vincent questions how this could have happened.
As darkness falls and creatures of night howl and shout, the wind in silent whispers warns that trouble soon will be about. What was that? The crystal ball! Who could have done this? And why?
We then cut to the gang in their upgraded mystery machine. Inside the vehicle, Scrappy notes that they've picked up on a signal on the Spectre detectors, so Daphne stops the van in front of an old coal mine. Inside the mine, Scrappy exclaims that it is full of ectoplasm. Daphne chirps in and mentions that some of the spirits are also made out of shadows. Cue the spooky music and Scooby's shadow comes to life.
Hey, we're picking up something on the Spectre detector. This old mine is loaded with ectoplasm.
Well, some ghosts are simply shadows.
What's the matter, Scoob? Afraid of your own shadow?
Scrappy takes chase after the shadow demon, but the ghost uses his supernatural power to cause the rope bridge that Scrappy and the rest of the gang are on to snap. As the gang falls into a minecart, the shadow demon grabs the chest of demons out of Shaggy's arms. On the minecart, the gang go on a wild ride along the coal mine tracks. The trip ends when they are safely thrown into a pile of coal. Realizing the chest is gone, the gang argue about who should contact old Vince through the crystal ball to see what they should do next. Flim Flam is the only one brave enough to try, and unfortunately, there are technical difficulties as Vincent's crystal ball was smashed earlier. Vincent gets the crystal ball going just in time to learn the bad news. Vincent lets out a loud yowl and then explains that they need to get the chest back before the night ends. For tonight, the evil forces are at their strongest and have the power to destroy the chest of demons.
The chest of demons, it's gone.
You tell him, Scoob.
You tell him.
No way.
We've lost the chest of demons.
This is serious. You've got to get that chest back tonight. For tonight, the powers of darkness will be their strongest ever. Strong enough to destroy the chest. The ghosts will convene at Bald Mountain to celebrate. At the foot of the mountain, you will find Befuddle Manor. Go there. The ghosts will try to destroy the chest before the sun rises, for that's when they lose their powers.
Then we better hurry. Hey, where'd he go?
If only I could have warned them that parts of Befuddle Manor are like a giant maze. Those who enter never get out alive.
The gang show up to Befuddle Manor disguised as insect exterminators and enter. Inside, they meet a kindly old lady who introduces them to her pet spider called Griswold. She also hires the gang to take care of exterminating any of the pests in the building that aren't her beloved Griswold, of course. The gang head off to investigate under the disguise of bug exterminators, and the old lady does a spin and reveals her true form.
Gee, it was easy getting in here.
Getting in is no problem. It's getting out that's impossible.
The gang change out of their exterminator outfits and investigate the manor. It doesn't take them long to run into the Shadow Demon, so they take chase. The Shadow Demon divides himself in two, so the gang naturally split up to go after each version of that Shadow Demon. Daphne, Flim Flam, and Scrappy get trapped in a room, so Flim Flam uses the crystal ball to contact Vincent. Vincent gets a partial signal but realizes he can't communicate with them, so he flies off on his magic carpet to Befuddle Manor. The second shadow demon chases Scooby and Scrappy to a theater room where they end up on stage in front of a horde of demons. There, the two perform the song Me and My Shadow Demon to entertain the audience of ghouls.
My shadow demon.
With the help of their detective crystal ball, Daphne, Scrappy, and Flimflam manage to escape the room and end up on stage with Scooby and Scrappy. Morbidia, who was the old lady we saw before, she also appears and welcomes the crowd to the AFCIM, or the Associated Federation of Crazy and Irresponsible Monsters.
Welcome to the AFL-CIM, the Associated Federation of Crazy and Irresponsible Monsters. I am Queen Morbidia. You must stay.
You mean as your guest?
No, I mean as my prisoners for eternity. But we're not through with you yet. Not until you tell us. Where is the chest of demons?
Like you sent that shadow demon to take it.
I know nothing about a shadow demon. Now talk or be destroyed.
Morbidia demands the gang relinquish the chest of demons, and when she sees that they do not have it, she has her monsters drag the gang into a dungeon. The gang also find it strange that she knows nothing about the shadow demon. Now imprisoned in a cell, Griswold the giant spider crawls in as he is hungry for a midnight snack. Crawling into the dungeon, the dastardly spider forces the gang deeper into the manor's maze as they try to escape this creepy pest. In the sprawling maze, they meet the manor creator called Brian Befuddle. The shadow demon also happens to be his. Mr. Befuddle is fortunately one of the good guys and had his shadow demon, or his shadow I guess, steal the chest of demons so the gang would save him from Queen Morbidia.
It's about time you all got here. Huh? Byron Befuddle. I built this place. It was my home. When Morbidia took over and let her magic loose in Befuddle Hall, he came to life.
And he stole our chest of demons.
True. That was to lead you here. Because I need your help. Morbidia and her monsters have trapped me in here. Now, I want you to get rid of them.
All right, then. If we help you get out, will you promise to return our chest of demons?
Deal.
While still evading Griswold the spider, Mr. Befuddle helps the gang find the chest of demons and also helps the gang navigate through the maze where they eventually meet up with Vincent Van Ghoul. Vincent attempts to fly everyone out on his carpet, but the weight of everyone is just too much, so they fall to the ground below. Outside, the manor monsters corner the gang at the edge of a cliff, and Mr. Van Ghoul suggests they stall the monsters until daylight, which is only a few minutes away. At sunrise, the monsters will lose their powers. Always up for improvisation, the gang perform the song Goodnight Ghoulies until daylight breaks and sends the monsters scattering away. As daylight strikes Queen Morbidia, she dissolves into dust and Flimflam sweeps the remains into the chest of demons.
At last, I'll take that. And now I shall destroy the chest and all of you. Do you have any last words? Good night, ghoulies. It's time to say goodbye.
3, 2, 1, and now!
No! The sun! We've been duped! No! I must hide from its rays!
And good night, Queen Morbidia.
I give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed the first third of this episode as it was quite spooky and when they're in that abandoned mine and you get the shadow demon in there with them. I thought that was really cool. After that, though, with all the singing and dancing, this one just wasn't for me, I guess. It's not bad. And I do remember as a kid singing Me and My Shadow Demon. I'm kind of old, so this was before the Scooby Snacks track CD came out, so I knew this song after watching this episode, and I sang it for decades after until that CD came out. So I did appreciate this episode as a kid, but as a grown-up, I didn't really appreciate the silly factor all that much. And a lot of people, Scooby-Doo fans who love the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, they're like, you know, you got to lighten up a little. You got to see this more as like a Tiny Toons kind of Animaniacs with some wacky humor. And you know, I'll tell you something. I'll be honest with you. I don't really love Tiny Toons or Animaniacs all that much either. Like, it's good, but it's no Scooby-Doo in my view. You know, I'd prefer Scooby-Doo. I prefer the mystery. I like humor, but I don't like a lot of humor, I guess. And this one had a fair amount of humor that just didn't make me love it. And I liked the design of Queen Morbidia, but her spooky factor was a bit wasted. I did love her personality and her design, but I felt her giant spider is given more of the scares, and the giant spider just wasn't creepy to me. It was too cartoonish for me. I'd rather her be the scary one chasing the gang and not the spider in a lot of instances. The Shadow Demon is the real star. His shadowy looks are really cool, but he's not that spooky in the end because he turns out to be a good guy, so I don't know. It's a 6.5 out of 10 for me. It was also cool to see Vincent Van Gogh out and about in the labyrinth maze of this episode. Cool idea. I wish they maybe spent a little more time with that. But they did, these 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, they do cover a lot in every episode. They're very action-packed. And sometimes I wish they maybe took their time a little more. Maybe they just focused on one element instead of trying to cram all this stuff in. But fortunately, for this episode, no Weird and Bogle again, which means, less clutter. So it had that going for it. And in the end, though, this one's okay. It's average. I liked it. It's had a strong start. A good enough villain. I like the villain. It just wasn't very spooky for me at all. But it's not bad. Like, if you're a new Scooby-Doo fan, I would say come back to this later. But if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, you haven't seen it, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good time waster on a Saturday morning, I guess. Not bad. It's not bad. I'm not really putting it down. I just didn't love it. Anyway, join me next week when I will be covering Reflections of a Ghoulish Eye. And until then, stay spooky.